Hello, we are here with Erwan Le Duff, CEO of Prosodie-Capgemini, talking about Odigo engagement platform. Hello, Erwan.
Hello, Ivan.
My first question is around the platform and kind of giving you an overview of what is the main functionality and what is the capabilities.
So Odigo is a omnichannel native as cloud solution. It is highly scalable. I think it's one of the main differentiator is today we see more and more large-scale companies asking for cloud solutions, including for interactions. They've been doing it for CRM in the past years. They do it now for interactions. And clearly this is one of our main assets, which is we are addressing multi-thousand agent-based clients, also in a multi-country environment. Some of our clients are using Odigo over 10, 15 countries with a seamless experience and the same solution. We're also trying to really build that platform to be as open as possible, which will ease not only the integration of the future channels that we see emerging, but also will help integration within the IT of the client on this. And finally, I would say we try to provide an end-to-end solution to our clients, so addressing both the telco needs as well as the overall omnichannel routing needs.
Okay, and with the next edition of the solution, with the next version, which is version 2, I believe, can you highlight kind of what are the main features that you're introducing? And
so we're launching two new releases. One is Odigo Contact Center V5, which is the core of the product, and as you're mentioning, we're launching V2 of our Concierge module. So Concierge is really designed to address the self-service needs that we see emerging, obviously, everywhere. We've rebuilt part of the Concierge into the V2 and managed to introduce omnichannel bots within it, so not only addressing the chatbot, but also potentially the voice bots and the other parts. This is what we'll be launching in the next days now.
And with this focus on self-service and identification of customers, kind of what was the thinking, what was the drivers behind focus on this specific?
So there's two things. I mean, on the user side, what we see more and more into the market is clients are asking for obviously self-service, but they're asking for simplicity. They're asking for quick response to their demands and also be able to get those requests answered into a 24/7 mode. So this we see more and more, and we see emerging in all sectors. And from the company standpoint, there is clearly an interesting case in being able to automate part of the low-value request that we get. Depending on the clients, we estimate that they represent between 15 and 30% of the requests they're getting. So if they are able to automate part of those and therefore refocus what the time it will free up for them within the agents for more added value or outbound or campaign management task, there is a clear B case. So we see this more and more happening today on the market.
And I believe you already have worked with clients on implementing the next version. Can you share a little bit more details, maybe kind of which industries and also which markets?
Yeah, so we see movements, and I will come back on that later on. We see movements in across industries. It's true that the first MVPs, I would say, or the first experimentations we've done in the last weeks or months have been quite out into the insurance overall market on this, and the feedback we're getting is from end users is very good. Okay, in terms of the experience they have, how simple it is to use, how efficient are the responses that they are getting. It's a very good feedback so far.
And are you targeting any specific? Where do you think the interest will be the biggest, or where the benefits will be the greatest from implementing the two? Any particular, maybe service line is more focused on sales or support? Is more focused on specific, industries that you think would benefit the most?
I think we see demands across the board, across sectors. It's true that today some of the sectors that are moving pretty fast and need to transform their customer experience. I'm thinking about the banks, about the insurance as well. Retail is also in a fast moving, and finally, and we see that in a few countries, including France, the public administration as well. Okay, so I would really think that it is starting to be cross sector. One of the reasons being that the number of interactions is constantly increasing, and we see that every day it is either on the insurance side, it is on mail. Public administration as well are facing increasing receipts of mails. So I think all of them are looking at this potential automation as a kind of Eldorado into transforming this. So we see it clearly across the board. Now the point what I'm saying to client every single time is before starting to look into automation of those and implementing bots, we need to make sure we truly understand the call motives. Yeah, so why the clients are calling, and make sure that we focus on the right task. So you are mentioning potentially after sales or sales, or so it depends cross clients. Or cross sectors. We have different cases, or being order cancellation on a simple retailer is one very simple example. But I think we first need with the clients to be able to understand the call motives, and this is where I believe that the implementation of a natural language part, including into the IVR, is already a big help into making sure we understand the request.
You mentioned the initial analysis of the interaction types and kind of this consulting piece. Can you tell me kind of how the company, and now looking at Capgemini as a whole, how do you guys look into this piece and how to integrate your capabilities across the different
I believe we are. When you look at all the assets within the Capgemini group, so from consulting to integration to being able to run this overall experience with Odigo, I believe we are the only company today on the market to come with an end-to-end value proposition. So we can come to a client and look and analyze their current customer experience, their current data and so on, and therefore from there, look at the customer journeys, be able to transform them, be able to manage all the impacts from an organizational standpoint that it might have, and also bring the technology in parallel to start automate, to start changing the customer experience, to do true omnichannel experience and try to break the silos that exist within all organizations. I mean, they're just starting to break them. So I believe this end-to-end value proposition, taking also end-to-end commitments and KPIs, potentially even business KPIs. I believe we're one of the only company on the market to be able to do so. Okay,
and you mentioned that the fact that true omnichannel is kind of an aspirational goal for most organizations, including now laggards that as we considered them before, public sector or government organizations. Kind of what prevents them from achieving this? Kind of what are the barriers for them?
I think there's two. I believe they're still organized, some of them, in silos. So it's not necessarily the same people managing the voice channel or managing the email channel or even the chat or the social media. This we start to see disappearing quite quickly, but still in some cases it is still the case on them. So that's one, so they need to fix that pretty quickly and put that under one single responsibility. And the second one is really to look at the agents. Yeah, so I think more and more our clients will look at the customer experience, but they also need to look at the agent experience, and therefore you need to have a strong vision and policy, as well as how do you want to organize this channel management from an agent standpoint. You want them to do full media blending, which we see not a lot, to be frank. It's not very easy to manage all channels in real time, but have a strong vision and a strong policy on how you want to organize this. And I think it is potentially a big change in the way they're organized for some of them when they have it in-house. Maybe a lot easier when they have sourced already part of this.
And how does your organization help them in achieving this transition, or even guiding them through this process?
So this is where I think we can take leverage of the overall Capgemini group, because our consulting arm has already developed a strong expertise in that domain. So being able to manage all the organization transformation that needs to be done in some countries, even discussing with the unions, and be able to implement all this and manage the change management across this. We had lately a client that has implemented natural language for all interactions, and has taken the opportunity of this implementation to completely change the way they were organized, and divide this into 6 main call motives aspects and try to get productivity from this. Now, the change is massive. When you're talking about 5,000 or 6,000 agents, you need to change the way it is organized from a physical standpoint potentially. You need to train people and so on. So it takes a year almost to do that. And again, we are able to not only bring the technology, but be able to manage all that transformation with our clients.
You also mentioned natural language processing and the bots, and these are not necessarily new technologies that we have. I mean, Prosodie has been implementing for over 15 years.
10 or 15 years, we've been very strong in natural language.
Kind of what's the difference, even from a year before when we had this hype around chatbots, kind of what do you feel is the difference now, and have the clients mature to kind of look at differently these solutions?
So clearly there was a hype. I mean, you've seen so many startups actually starting to to develop chatbots or bots builders that developers could use, and we've seen many experimentation in some clients trying to automate one or two processes. For the reason I've mentioned earlier on, I think there is a true B case for the clients to be able to automate this, because I strongly believe that it will obviously free some time to do a more high-value task, but you can also increase your customer satisfaction doing that, but you need to do it properly. So I think we see clients more and more maturing into this. Now again, I'm back to fully understanding the core motives. Yeah. So for me, it's not only a matter of technology. We see the technology working. I mean, we have ours regarding machine learning and how we use that. We even have shadow agents on our side to be able to look at what the engine is giving and increase the level of recognition very quickly of the engine to be able to do this. So to me, it's not only a matter of technology. It's a matter of understanding the core motives, implementing it on the right use cases, and more importantly, making sure that your engine is strong in natural language. You will reach very quickly 95% of recognition or even more, because there's nothing worse for a client than trying to chat or even using voice bots and not being recognized. But you need to implement this within a true multi-channel aspect. You cannot have just a standalone chatbot, because you might want to pass that to a live agent at some point, or you might have someone talking to a voice bot and saying, I don't like to speak to bots, and therefore pass it to a live agent. So you need to be truly integrated into your multi-channel strategy.
But do you see an opportunity that we have an environment without a human assistance or without human agents to support? Where do you think the balance will be reached?
No way. I mean, sometimes you see figures around 85-90% of interactions will be automated in a few years. No way this will happen, and not to that extent. I mean, obviously there will be a big part, and the fact that people will be more and more used to speak to Alexa or to Google and so on, as we see on the market, will obviously increase this kind of use. Now, all companies clearly know that the voice aspect and potentially talking to a human, to a live agent, for certain circumstances is the only way to fix, is the only way to potentially add sales at some point and so on. So this will stay. Probably it will be focused on more added value, as I've mentioned, and more complex cases, but it will still be there. I don't think it will probably be decreasing a bit, but will still be there. And we've seen in the last 2 years, for example, also pure players that we had, pure internet players that were kind of having only a true digital experience providing to their clients, were kind of trying to hide their phone number onto their website. They are coming to voice now, because they've realized as well that this hot channel, warm channel, is one that you need to take into account into it. So we don't see it disappearing at all. The humans will still be there. The point is, it will affect the work of the agents, and potentially having them managing only complex cases. So you need also to manage your workforce a bit differently than what what is done today.
If I press you to give me a proportion, where do you think the market will be, let's say, 4 years from now?
Today, what we see, and when we analyze data from clients, clearly there is a case between 15 and 30% of incoming interaction that could be automated. Okay. on this. So I see the market being, yes, around those 30, maybe a bit more. Let's say 30 to 50, maybe in 4 to 5 years, but not moving to the 90% of automation.
I agree with that. This is, yeah, even in my experience, this is very difficult to achieve for multiple reasons. But yeah, well, let's talk a little bit about the tool and the solution. I believe majority of the IP is in-house developed. You have your own resources. Kind of, what was the thinking behind doing it in-house? As you said, there are quite a big market for chat solutions and automation and AI startups. Kind of, what was the focus internally, and how do you kind of get these resources?
So the overall strategy around Odigo is really to master kind of the core product, the core multi-channel aspect of it, including the routing and so on, is really to master it internally. Where we rely on partners is more around adjacent, I would say, solutions around WFO, FM, or QM or things like that. But the core of the product we want to master. Regarding concierge itself, it's true that we could have relied on other bots or technology around machine learning and so on. But we strongly believe that our experience in the dialogue part, so including natural language and all that, this we master very strongly. I also believe that the value will come from corpus, from having the right corpus. So either a sectorial corpus or a functional corpus, let's say after sales or whatever, and this will help that the bot is performing well. So all this dialogue part, clearly we wanted to master, and I believe we have one of the most interesting expertise into doing this. And then regarding the machine learning part, again, I mean, most of the startup that we see are kind of more generic around the bots, yeah, that they would manage. On our side, where we want to build a customer service bot and only focused around this, yeah, not necessarily addressing all the parts of the automation landscape. And I strongly believe that we need to master this up to the end, and we will be therefore able to increase the value of our product, as we go through implementation, through different sectors, through different kind of bots that we will build for clients.
To what extent do you utilize your existing, your experience in the space, using, for example, the data that you've accumulated? Is this an advantage for you guys that you have worked in this space?
Yeah, I strongly believe it is an advantage. Coming back to the corpus side, I mean, right now in the banking sector, we have a corpus of over 300,000 sentences. Okay, that we know are valid for the banking sectors, that we obviously adapt each time we do an implementation with a client, because we need to take the context of the particular context of that client. We have 150,000 sentences in the insurance sector, a bit in the retail as well. So I strongly believe these data, those corpus that we own, that we've been building over the last 10 years doing natural language IVRs, is a strong asset, for example, on this. So that's one. And then we manage overall kind of 3 billion interactions per year onto our platform. So that's a huge amount of data that we can also use to make sure that we build the right dialogues, that our machine learning part is powerful on this, which is so clearly an asset, and will also be an asset to move to some of the next phase of the use of AI, which will be AI routing as well at some point. So yeah, clearly a strong asset for us.
Okay. Well, there is also the issue, or at least the challenge on the market, that the resources, the analytical resources that are required to do this natural language processing, building the algorithms, developing these machine learning skills are kind of scarce. Yes. They're not necessarily taught that much in the schools. How do you source this? Kind of where do you see this developing, and how to capture?
Clearly, talent acquisition will clearly be an issue, or something we need to address. Well, the chance we have is, as I said, we've been doing natural language for over 10 years now. So we've built internally a very strong team already. Now, clearly, we need to expand it as it will move forward. So I believe we're quite attractive with Odigo and that team. So we're able to attract some of the talents, and we'll continue to do so. And then we also have the chance of being part of the Capgemini group, which is attracting talents, being able to train talents, and all that is at the heart of the services business. So we can also rely on Capgemini.
Is there any particular geographies that you think we can provide this kind of talents, particular countries that maybe are more active in the in the educational area?
So we've been relying so far for our product dev either, I mean, in France, which is our home country, a bit in the US and also in India. We're looking right now at Eastern Europe as well, where we see good technical skills being more and more developed in some of the countries. So again, our global reach will help us to rely potentially on where it fits best.
Good. Well, we did talk about how this impacts the market and the clients in terms of their commercial side. How is this going to impact the relationship between you as a provider and them as a client in terms of even the pricing models, the contracts that you sign? With introducing all this automation, it might potentially eliminate some of the business for the managed side.
True. A few comments. The first one is on Odigo, we've always been on a pay-per-use model, okay, and we want to stay on that pay-per-use because this will help clients potentially manage the downturns as well on some of the channels and making sure that quickly, I mean, their price or their cost will adapt to the volume they're getting. So this we will keep and we will pursue. On the other side, as I was saying earlier on, I mean, I believe as a whole, Capgemini Group is the only one to provide this end-to-end solution. In fact, we do very little. I mean, Prosodie, we do none. We only provide the technology, but even on the Capgemini standpoint, we do very little in customer service business, so we will not necessarily be impacted by this. So we are able to provide this end-to-end solution, and yes, automation will potentially reduce the needs behind. But there's no way we can stop this. Yeah? So it's better to be proactive. It's always been with clients and bring some solution that will help them and will benefit in the future anyhow. Yeah. So that's our approach.
Well, with this automation on the client side, kind of eliminating some of the required resources, do you think this will be an opportunity for kind of allocating these resources to more advanced solutions, adding channels, kind of going to a more robust tools as well?
Yeah, I agree, and this is most of the discussions we're having right now with clients. They're not necessarily looking at this as being okay. I will get rid of 20% of my cost in the call centers and all that. That's not really the philosophy so far, and most of them are just trying to do this first to cope with the increasing number of interactions coming in, and not to have to add people all the time, which is obviously the main cost. So that's the first one, and the second one is if they're able to free some of the resources, is how can I put them on more added value task? Can they do outbound? If you're a retailer or whatever, can they do outbound and so on? So this is why I don't believe we'll see a major impact. There will be an impact, but maybe it will be a 2 to 3% per year kind of impact over the next years, and not more than that.
More gradual. Do you see any differentiator between the different types of clients, whether it's their size or experience working with providers, or even outsourcing their call centers, or even markets, different geographies?
Yes, we start to see that. I mean, really depending on what's been their philosophy so far, between insourcing part of it or outsourcing, there will obviously be a difference. I see a potential trend as well, which is many of them have used labor arbitrage in some of the countries, and I see this might be an impact, which is overall the number of people might decrease a bit, but they might use the savings that they do also to try to bring back maybe in-house or onshore some of the resources to manage those high value kind of services and maybe address the different segments. We see this in some sectors starting to happen.
Is there a difference between the company type, including whether it's a new economy, kind of more digital, startup even, versus kind of the established incumbents, the traditional retail, telecom banks?
Yes, obviously, when you discuss with Uber or with, we've done with Showroom Privé in France or with other guys like this, they obviously don't have the same approach than a bricks and mortar kind of company, that's for sure. But as I was saying early on, I mean, they're trying to move to the voice aspect as well, or not to move to, but at least make sure that they handle the voice aspect properly, that it is still a need of some of their clients. But clearly they're coming from a more mature standpoint in terms of making sure that I put the right chatbot into my app, into the smartphone and so on. So clearly more mature than some of our other clients.
Well, let's talk a little bit of the future. Kind of what are the next steps for the platform? Where do you look to what capabilities are you looking to add?
We need to address in a full omnichannel bots. Yeah, so we've discussed a little bit about the chatbots. We've started to test with client the voice bots as well, and I strongly believe Amazon is saying voice is the future, is one of their motto right now, which I tend to agree with. As I was saying early on, so clearly we want to fully finalize the omnichannel part of the bots. We will continue to develop also more and more connectors to third parties. I mean, we have a market-leading one to Salesforce, and been really successful in the last 2 years. So this we will continue to invest. And finally, I would say we've discussed a little bit two other aspects, which is the data and the use of the data. So AI, we will more and more use that data and move to AI routing as well, and be able to do real-time, very advanced, even more than what it is today, routing based on data analysis. That's the first aspect. And the second one is we have an outbound solution, but I think the needs and the requirements for outbounds, as potentially there is a shift on some of the agents and so on, will increase. So probably we'll invest into this. So therefore we can manage with clients this shift from inbound to outbound.
What about the next release, which includes the voice bot, correct?
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more, kind of what are the main capabilities that you're looking
so
to?
It clearly it is almost finalized. So we will be in the next couple of months available as well. And here it's really the same principle than the chatbot, but just using voice. Yeah. And our objective, as I was saying, is clearly that it is an omni-channel bot. Yeah. So obviously you cannot design the exact same customer journeys using a chatbot or a voice bot. But our logic is that it will be using the same foundations. Obviously the same data in terms of knowledge base and so on the customer side, but also that you could design some of the dialogues, obviously adapt to the interface you're using, chat or voice, but design it somehow in the same way. So being able to address those two channels in the same manner. And finally, the point again will be to fully integrate that into the Odigo solution, so fully integrate it into the multi-channel one. So for some of the cases, and we've started to do that with clients. So for some use cases, we just realized that you can go further into the treatment of the use case using a chatbot, and you can potentially ask more complex questions to the client than using a voice bot. And therefore, if at some part of the customer journeys, you might want to say, hold on, I'll put you through my colleague, which is a live agent on this. So we need to manage all those multi-channel properly. That's the first point. And the second one is reinvest, as I was saying, into the corpus. Despite the fact that some people are saying that the tools today have a high level of recognition of what the client is saying, still we strongly believe that having the right corpus really adapted will bring you to the next level. Yeah. So especially when you don't want to do just generic voice recognition and so on, but you really want to manage complex use cases, you need the corpus to be adapted. So we'll invest into this and the way corpus are integrated into the solution.
What are the requirements on the client side for them to engage in implementing such a tool? Is there a particular needs on your end in terms of data access or enough information for you to build this the voice piece?
Yeah, it's really back to the to a few things. It's back to the call motifs that I was mentioning early on, and you'll be surprised that some clients have a broad view of what are the call motifs, but each time we do some obviously recording and speech analytics or implement natural language and really analyze the data, which we do. We take 50,000 recordings and start to do this. There is always surprises. Yeah, always you tend to realize that you did not expect this call motif to be so high or the other way around. So really, to me, the first point on this is is well analyze his data and well understand why customers are calling, why are they sending emails, why are they opening a chat session, and so on. That's really the first step. And you need to be very mature, right? It's not only having one or two ideas. You need to have the facts and the data to be able to do so. And then you really need to implement that within your journey. So what is the place you want self-service to take within your customer experience on the various channels, and be able to design all those journeys. So it takes time. I mean, it's you can do experimentation very quickly. If you want to do a true full use case or several use cases that you want to treat either chat or voice, it takes a bit of time.
What would be a typical implementation?
You can do. I mean, if you have to do the call motives, analysis and so on, overall in 4 or 5 months, you would need to be able to implement the overall thing. I mean, if you already have the call motives, obviously I would say in a few weeks, or you'll be able to start testing. And I'm talking about MVP, so with real clients in front, and not just a proof of concept.
Okay. Which are the first languages you're launching the Omnichannel bot on? So
obviously French, English, Spanish will be the first one. But as Odigo, we're planning to obviously expand that to a lot more.
Okay, great. Well, let's talk a little bit looking towards the overall market, maybe the future. Where do you see the customer experience as a whole developing over the next few years from a client, from a company perspective?
So clearly today, I mean, you've noticed that as well over the last years. There is a kind of cross-sector competition on this. You expect the same experience. You're calling your bank, and the day after you're calling a public administration, or you're calling your insurance or whatever. You expect the same experience. You would not understand why it takes a week for some of them to answer, or whether 1 hour for the others. So I think customers will become less patient and more demanding, more and more. We'll be looking for simplicity. I think even more and more on this. So the simpler all of those interactions will become, the more interaction you will get, because it will be so simple at home to ask Alexa, or to call whatever, or use a chatbot on this. So I think we need to be able to address this request for simplicity, for 24/7, for quick response in a true multi-channel experience.
Do you have any channel that you believe would have a lot more potential that's underused at the moment?
We've seen in the last years clearly the explosion of the email, of the mail part. But I believe this will reach a peak and will go down. Yeah, and especially some of our clients are telling us that if you start to automate too much the emails, customer satisfaction is not necessarily going up. Yeah, because people realize it's an automatic email. It's a formatted one that you've received. So you need to be careful. So I think we will start to see reaching a peak regarding the email. So I think voice will regenerate through the voice bot a little bit. So on this, and clearly, I mean, chat, lots of live chat or not, or virtual agents. We've seen, but not to a great extent. Many clients have 10, 20 agents actually dealing with this, sometimes more, but not that more. But I think this will explode. This will explode also as part of everyone being able to have a chatbot within the app, or do instant messaging and treat complex cases within this. So I think voice regenerating a bit, probably reaching a peak and decreasing on the email side, but everything related to chat will start to increase a bit more.
What about from a customer perspective? Do you think the customers will change their behavior from their current, as you mentioned, always on 24/7 expectations, convenience?
You mean the end customers?
Yeah, the end customers. Yeah. How do you think how is this going to develop? Do you think it's going to change significantly from today over the next years?
Yeah, I think it will. I mean, maybe not as quick as some people are writing today. I mean, you need the change of generations of people and all that to happen. But yes, I believe people will start to be at ease with chatting with a machine, or even more than they are today, a lot more than they are today, or with a voice bot on this. I think the technology is ready. on this. We need to implement it right, as I've mentioned earlier on. But I think, yeah, people will get used to this more and more, so we'll accelerate.
Can you share an example of current implementation of the new version?
Yes, what we've started some months ago now for a client in the insurance sector was to look at the following thing: to take one of their service line, which is actually optical processes, and really implement both a chatbot and a voice bot to be able to manage almost the full process. So imagine you wear glasses and you're calling your insurance, or you're chatting, as both channels would manage it this way, because you want to know how much you would be reimbursed if you want to change your glasses. Yeah. So first you are recognized either by your number, or we can imagine voice biometrics. So they know who you are. So they go to the IT and know roughly your profile. And then you are asking, or the end client is asking, okay, how much I am reimbursed for my glasses? So then the first question be and checking if you've changed your glasses in the last 2 years, which would change it or not. So either the IT has the information. If not, the bot would ask, did you change your glasses in the last 2 years? If it's yes, there is a given process, no, another one. And then starting to ask, okay, have you seen your doctor already? If you've seen it on the paper, you need to look at the type of glasses that you have. So the bot or the chat will be able to help you also see on the doctor paper where those information is, and imagine that everything is right. So you get the type of glasses. So then you're able to ask again the IT and be able to tell you, well, you will be reimbursed 50 euros for the left part and 75 for the right part. And then the bot asking, okay, do you have already an appointment to buy your new glasses? And if not, then the insurance was willing to push some of the partners that they have. So they were able to geolocate the person and push, which is easier on the chat than on the voice channel. Be easy to push the two ones that are just nearby where the client is at that time, and say, well, you'll get good prices, for example, going into one of those two shops, or even trying to push add-on sales by using the internet partner that they had to buy glasses. I mean, you see, I'm giving just example, but this whole process was managed through a full automated chatbot, and almost all the same into the voice, which is it's a bit more complex to do what I've just described into the voice channel. So part of the processes could be managed at the end by a live agent, but we ended up providing this and testing it with end clients.
And can you share some of the initial results? At what stage is the development?
So, I mean, the chatbot is live and is starting to be used with, I mean, very good feedback from the clients. Clearly, over the average that they get in their customer experience. And on the voice bot, I mean, we're only starting it right now and pushing it right now. So I don't have yet the feedback from the end clients. Thank
you, Erwan, for this opportunity and for the great insights. I'm looking forward to the next version. Thank you very much for following us and watching this video. Please check the other links below.